Hey everyone. Hi. Hi and welcome to Jazz Bass. JB Bass. What? I am saying this all wrong, y'all. I gotta get used to it. J Bass Podcast with Miss Coco Powell. I'm saying it so wrong. Like, this is my first one and I'm already screwing up. Good thing this is my personal blog, right? Because if wouldn't have been my personal blog and I'd been like on somebody else's stream, I would have been so upset. But anyway, I'm Miss Coco and this is my blog, my personal blog for my bass guitar. Y'all, this is my first bass guitar. Let me tell you a little bit about myself. Okay, so I'm already a podcaster. Okay, so this just adds to one of the many podcasts that I already host. Out of all of them, I like all the podcasts that I host, really. I do. I like them all. This is probably going to be my most funnest one out of all of the podcasts that I host. This is probably the most funnest for me because it actually relates to something that I truly love, which is playing bass guitar. Okay, so y'all share this out and subscribe. So, subscribe. Okay. Okay, so I'm just going to share this. I really don't even have a title that I want to really put up there like that. But okay, so since this is my first episode, I thought I would come on and tell you a little bit about myself and where I'm from and how I ended up, liking bass and stuff. It's just a real simple podcast today. Okay, so my name is actually Jamie Boughton, and Coco Boughton is my nickname. It's really my nickname. It's my nickname. It's my stage name. It's the name I go by. But Jamie Boughton is my name. And so that's how I came up with the title J Bass Boughton. That's what I call myself on my fan page on Facebook. And I appreciate it if y'all go over there and like my fan page. It's new. It don't got nobody's over there right now. Nobody's over there. I got a little bit of content up, not much. But I brought it back to the J because I felt like when I do bass, when I talk about bass, I'm talking about really something that I truly love. I truly love the bass, and I always have loved bass guitar. Actually, I love all instruments, but the bass guitar has just been the one thing. And I remember about 3 years ago, I kept telling my friends and family, I'm going to get one. And I never did. I never got a bass because I just felt like, I'm going to be honest, okay? Let me be honest here. I did not feel like I was good enough to make a purchase of a bass guitar. And I did not want to waste my money like that. I was like, no, I don't want to invest a whole lot of money. And even at that time, I felt like $100 was just too much to put into a bass or anything, But so finally, I talked myself into getting one this year, 3 years later. Actually, I would say 30 years later because I've actually been trying to play bass and teaching myself bass and watching videos and just really going off of my soulful vibe. I'm going to tell you, really by ear, I love stuff by ear because like my ear can catch something and it's like a whole nother operation going on. When my ear catches something and when I don't play it right, I'll make a face. And that's why I be, okay, so when y'all see my videos, you see my face is covered up because sometimes, like if I miss a note or something, my face will go a certain way, like I can't help it. And I haven't got used to my bass face yet. So, I haven't got used to my bass face yet. But the thing that I will say about me is that I have been into music pretty much since I was like 5 years old. And I've always loved guitars. I actually love the lead guitar too. I've had the opportunity to play on an Ibanez and also on the Fender. I've played on the Fender and Ibanez, two great brands right there. And I used to love playing on those. I remember when my dad came in and said he was taking his guitars to the pawn shop. This was when I was a little girl, and I just boo-hoo because I really wanted to play those guitars. I really wanted to play them. And so that was the moment when I realized that I do want to be a player. I want to be a bass player, and I want to be a lead player. And I feel like that God is big enough that I can be both, that I can do lead and I can do guitar. So finally, long story short, let's ease on back out. Okay, so long story short, I finally purchased my first bass last year, November of 2021. I purchased my first bass. It's a jazz bass, sunset color. It was cheap. I got it off in Glary. Well, I got it from eBay because on Glary it was actually higher than eBay. eBay had a whole set with the amp and all for a whole combo set for $96. And when I went on Glary, it was like 100 and something. And so I was like, I'm going with eBay, and just prayerfully, it's going to be of some quality. So I did get my bass, and it didn't take it long to get here. It wasn't hard to open or anything. I didn't have any issues with it. I didn't have no broken pieces or anything. Everything that it said it was coming with, it came with. Now, the problem that I do have, and if any of you bass brothers and sisters are out there, and you can please tell me, I'm going to put this picture up on my Facebook fan page. Now, this amp is a 20-watt amp that they send with this bass guitar, but I don't know what it plugs into. Like, I've never seen anything like it. That's the only complaint that I will have right now as far as what I got from eBay and the Glary set, because it comes from the Glary set. It is the Glary, Glarry. It is that set. I love the way it plays and everything, but I couldn't use the amp because I couldn't figure out how to plug the darn thing up. And so if y'all know how to plug it up, please, whatever you do, just let me know. Let me know. I'm going to put a picture up because I've never even seen a plug-in like this. And I would think that it would have something to, like, it's a little funny shaped plug. I've never seen it. Listen, can I call this plug bow-legged? Can I please call it bow-legged? Because it kind of reminds me of, it's just got this gap in it so wide that, like, it can't fit in a regular outlet. I don't know what that is. But anyway, so I haven't tried out that amp yet because I haven't figured out what to plug it up in. But I will put it up on my Facebook fan page, which is J Bass Boughton. J Bass Boughton, that's the name of it. I will put that up, and if any of you know what I'm supposed to do with it, please let me know. Now, by God's grace, I did have my dad's amp here, and the amp was like, I know this amp is every bit like almost 30 years old, and it is I moved it. I moved it off my bed. I actually had it laying up here on my bed tonight. Hold up, let me see. Oh, okay. It's an Esteban. I also have the acoustic guitar that is an Esteban also. But this belonged to an Esteban bass electric guitar. And that thing was like 25, 26 years old. And my dad and sister used to play on it a lot. And so I still had the amp here. And I plugged it in, and I'm going to tell y'all what happened. Oh God, I turned it wide open because I was like, yes, I want to feel the bass. I want to feel this jazz. So I turned it wide open, and it blew the doggone thing up. It was on this last little bass. It was on this last little mid-range or whatever, but it went on out. And I was like, gosh. It started sounding like it was farting and stuff. I knew that was the end of that. I said, dang, I messed that up. Okay, but yeah, I did get an amp the next day. Well, the next couple of days on now. I did end up getting an amp. It's a TNT. I forgot what size dude told me that was. But it's one of them big old church ones, that you can just roll, and it's big and wide, and it'll blow the roof off something, I can tell you that. And so when I play it, y'all, when I tell y'all, I feel like even though sometimes I be playing out of key, I be playing the wrong note. And listen, I'm a beginner bass. That's what I consider myself, although I've been teaching myself for 30 years. I really have. I've been teaching myself for 30 years, but this is the first time I ever brought an actual bass. But when I tell y'all, when I plug that thing in and I hit that one note, I felt it come through my body. That was the best feeling in the world, the best little sound in the world to my ears, the best touch to my fingers. Like, I can't even explain how much I appreciate the sound, the texture, the meatiness of that jazz bass. I just so adore it like that, right? And I tell y'all, I ain't got nothing against precision bass. Now, eventually I may get a precision bass, but right now I'm into the jazz bass. And I always have been, because there's just certain things that a jazz bass does that rocks my world. For me, it rocks my world. I hear it and I feel it in my bones. No, not in my bones. I'm going to say I feel it in my heart. When I hear jazz bass, I feel it in my heart. When I hear precision bass, I feel it in my bones. So, that's how I keep the two apart. Now, I don't think I'm bass educated, because I'm not. But I just know the difference in the sounds, And I like the meatier sound. I like the meat. I like meat on my bones. I like a chunky sound. I like that chunk. That's what I call it. That chunk. I like that chunk sound. So, but yeah, other than that, y'all, this is my first podcast. I will be coming with more on this podcast. And y'all, if you know me, I'm long-winded at talking, but I promise you, I'm going to try to keep this podcast not as long as my other ones, because my other ones go like an hour long sometimes. It just depends on what I'm talking about, really. But, yeah, I'm officially a bass owner, and I just wanted to shout it out and tell the world that I'm officially a bass owner and a bass player, beginner bass player. It's official for me now, because I actually do have my own bass, and I actually have made my own purchase of a bass. And so that's the difference now versus 30 years ago. Now, I tell you though, for over 30 some years, I got away with not having to buy my own equipment and stuff, because I always got to play on everybody else's equipment. And they was always coming to my house to play. So, I had it made like that, and I had a keyboard. I never really had to purchase anything. My sister gave the keyboard. She was like, here, you can play it, learn how to play it and stuff. And so I had a keyboard. My other sister had a bass guitar, and then I had a sister had drums and stuff, and pretty much, my family is musical, and everybody already had everything. And so only thing was left for me to do was just play it, and that's what I did. So this is my first big purchase. It's not big, but I would say for somebody that is beginning like me, not know it all. We don't know it all. We sometimes want to act like we do, but we don't know it all. For somebody like me, I did get mine off in eBay, and I paid $106 total, and that was with the shipping. At the time, shipping and handling was free, and no, Glary is not paying me to promote them, but I want to share the information with other fellow beginner bass people. I want to share that with the other fellow bass players, that maybe somebody's looking for something for their son, their daughter, just something cheap to start off with. Now, eventually, I do plan on to graduate to an Ibanez. I do. I love them. Ibanez was the first bass that I played, and I fell in love with it. I played my first Ibanez bass probably, I'm going to say, about 25 years ago. 25 years ago, I played my first one. and I absolutely loved it. And what happened was I was babysitting the bass, okay? Back then, people would bring their equipment here to my home, and, you know, I was doing my little D thing, you know, back in the days. You know, I wasn't in the church like I should be or anything, so I was the spot that you could come drink at, dance, and you know, play music and stuff. And so everybody was leaving their equipment here. And so they leave their equipment here. Hey, I run through it. I would play, and, you know, just enjoy playing. I play out in the morning. I play at night. I wake up out my sleep playing, you know, kind of same way I am now. Same way I am now. I have to stop myself now from playing so much, because if I'm not careful, and I've been like this for years, y'all. This is just how much I love it. Like, too much of anything is not good for you. And so when I start playing now, I have to set a timer on my phone, because if I don't, I can lose track of time. I can lose hours in the playing, because that's how much I enjoy it. But like I said, too much of anything isn't good for you. So I try to keep my playing around anywhere from 1 hour to 2 hours, maybe 2.5 hours, depending on what all I have done that day, or whatever, what all I got to do the next day. I know it takes a lot of practice and stuff, but, you know, for me, it's in my heart. I think that's the most important thing. I think the most important thing is that when you really want to play something and you really want to learn it, it hits your heart first, and then it hits your ears. Once it hits your heart, it's going to take over all your other senses. I mean, that's just point blank. That's for any type of musician. I've been in the music industry for a long time. I mean, since a little girl. And that's one thing I do know. When it's in a person's heart, it goes differently than just somebody saying, hey, I want to take lessons and learn how to play bass. I want to learn how to play keyboard. It hits differently, because a person that just want to do it to just be learning it, they may not have it in their heart, so they may not be in it for the long haul. But a person who has it in their heart, hey, they'll roll with you for the long. They there for the long ride, from when your strings break, from whenever, you know, your days are playing with only 2 strings. Y'all, I'm talking about myself there. I remember I had to play with 2 strings for a long time. For a long time, I played with only 2 strings, and that was on an acoustic. On a George Bennett acoustic guitar. And I was like, I'm not going to play the other 2 strings because they don't sound like bass. So I would only play the bass strings on the, what is that? I'm looking at it now. George Bennett 1, 2, 3, 4, 6-string guitar. Because I be playing the acoustic too. Let me see that thing. I haven't touched it. I did wipe it down the other day, but let me see here. Yeah. Y'all hear that? That's that George Bennett acoustic 6-string. And for those who do not know, yes, I'm in my bedroom, and in my bedroom just got guitars and music stuff. Like, I have another one over there. I have an Estevan over there. That mug is big. That acoustic is big. I need some strings on it. It is a 6-string as well. So, y'all, I do like playing lead too, so from time to time, I may talk about the lead guitars as well, because that is the next thing on my purchase line, is to get me a lead as well. So I call this J-Bass. I mean, wait, what is it again? Y'all, I got to get used to it. J-Bass. I'm just going to do short term. J-Bass. I'm not going to add the Boughton. But J-Bass Boughton podcast. Yeah, I am going to add the Boughton. It sounds right like that. But I will be talking about probably different instruments and stuff on here, because I do keyboard too. And as I said, I do the acoustic. And I do want me a lead guitar. I love the finger work on lead. I remember the old heads used to tell me, girl, you better stick to a bass. Because if you don't stick to a bass, you're going to be always moving them fingers fast. You're going to have to move them fingers fast. And, you know, I grew up in the bootlegger houses. So in the bootlegger houses, you know, they had them shingdings. They had them shingdings to sell more liquor. And so they have some of the house guys, you know, who would go to church on Sundays and play play in Bootlegger's house on, when would it be? Friday nights when they get off the farm work and stuff, because I come from the farm work. So they would get off the farm, and for the good time, they go to the Bootlegger's house and play, and people dance and stuff. And so I always had somebody that, I could always watch how they play and stuff. And I knew as a little girl, that's what I wanted to do. Now, whether I'm professional or not, I got a long way to go. I got a long way to go to be a professional. But for right now, I just want my heart to produce whatever it produces. Whatever is good, whatever is noble, that's what I want my heart to do. I want my heart to produce that good fruit and that good sounding of a bass. So I am taking my time and going to study and just enjoy it. I'm going to enjoy it. And one thing about it, your gift will make room for you, so you don't have to force anything. So I'm not going to force my way into anything. I will say, though, I do want to get where I can play in the church, even if I sound like one of them people that don't know what they're playing in the church. Because y'all ever been to a church, and sometimes, it be the willing musicians. They be willing, though, but they can't play that good, but they be so willing that you don't even pay that part no attention. That's probably where I end up being. One of those people like that end up in the church. Some people just anointed for it like that, even though they don't sound as good as some of the bigger players and stuff, some of the people who know more, but because they can carry just a little tune, it makes a difference. And I think I can carry a pretty good tune and stuff, considering why I play bass in the first place. And we'll get into that in another podcast, because that is obviously going to be too long for me tonight. But I just wanted to come on and introduce myself to those of you who do not know who I am. I am Jamie Boughton, aka Miss Coco Boughton, and I am a content creator. I'm a blogger. I'm a writer. I'm an author. I've worked in the music industry with a lot of good heavy hitters, good names, brand names, names that but there's just too many to name tonight. It's not about them, it's about me. But I'm just telling you a little bit about myself, though. But I pretty much have cared for music all my life, pretty much. Since the time I was a tater tot, 5 years old, sprouting up. I did my first lead singing when I was 8 years old at the radio station in Rockingham, North Carolina. I remember that. I led the song, Jesus, I Love Calling Your Name. And I have a video where I was trying to play that song the other night. And for some reason, I think it was my tuning, because no matter what note I hit, I was not going right. And that thing, I was like, wait a minute now, Shirley Caesar's song don't go like this now, because you can hear it. You can hear it, and you can feel when you hit something wrong. It just don't feel right. It shakes your whole body. It shakes the whole core of you. And so I knew I was hitting those wrong notes, but I still posted that video like a pro. Because people need to see I'm not, trying to be somebody I'm not. Look, I'm here learning. I'm in training. I got some good brothers and sisters that are, bass brothers and sisters that are helping me, that are giving me some great tips. I got a tip the other day about, get the, what's the name of the stuff? Hold up, y'all. Let me check my page out. It's this finger ease, I think it is, or ease finger, something like that. But I got it, and I'm going to use it tomorrow. Hopefully, I get some time tomorrow to put it on my strings so that I can slide a lot easier, because my fingers were getting stuck. I mean, I was sliding, but I was not sliding easy. I was like, I glided across there, and then my fingers stopped or something. Anyway, everything went dry. But yeah, let me see if I can find the name of it. Dun, 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 dun. But yes, I love it, y'all. I love it. I wouldn't trade it for nothing, no. My J bass, that's why I'm on here, to talk about that bass. I ain't gonna say I'm all about bass on this podcast, because you never know what I'm gonna come up with. So J bass could really stand for jazz bass or Jamie. I like that. I like that, I could use it either way. Okay, so I do not see my thingy. But y'all, I'm going to tell y'all too, when you go to my page, I actually have a collection called KB Love Designs. And I've got a collection of base shirts that are going to be coming out. So if you would like to purchase, a base shirt or something like that, you want something on it, just let me know and I'll see what I can do. If you like what I got, then I'm sure enough going to do it for you, okay? Yes. So y'all be sure to check my page out, J Base Boughton, and that's the only way you're going to see what I have to offer is by coming on and checking out my content. But yeah, this was my introductory podcast. I'm glad to be on here. Glad to be seeing y'all. And just know, if you get this podcast late, just know you can always still hit me up in the chat. There's an area that says chat. You can hit me up in the chat. Right now, this podcast is only on Spreaker right now, but within the next coming weeks, I'm going to be probably on iHeartRadio, Google Podcasts, Amazon Music, Spotify, all those other good stations that my other podcast is on. I got to grow my fan base on here before they will allow me to branch out into other social media sites and stuff like that, other apps. So, but I can do that with the help of all of you. Don't forget to subscribe. If you're listening that way, you'll get notified. Anytime that I come on, you will get notified through your email. Or either, a notification on your phone if you subscribe. So, don't forget that. What else I want to say about the base? Oh, yeah, I do want to say, y'all. Listen, I stood up for the first time, I think like 2 weeks ago, and I got so excited. I was like, so for every other day or, once a week at least, I'm going to practice standing up playing the bass, because that's something I've always wanted to do, was stand and play the bass. But I tell y'all what, that doggone guitar strap that I had on that came with the Glary package, now I'm going to tell y'all something. It comes with Glary, okay? It comes with the bass, but that ain't no count. No, that was hurting. I need like a pad or something to go in it or something. My whole back was on fire. It was on fire. And, I'm a big woman. I'm a plus size woman. So I'm a little heavier in the front. And so, it just didn't work out for me like that. And the pain that I was in after standing up trying to do it like that, it didn't take no weight off the guitar. And I will say that neck of that guitar is pretty heavy. There's some lighter versions out here. I know they are, because I have played some lighter guitars than this one here. Like the back end of it is okay, but that front end, that neck, it's heavy, and like I can tell in my wrist and stuff. So I'm gonna be looking for some techniques on that too, for that, to make sure that I don't catch no carpal tunnel or nothing like that. Because my body is actually used to playing every day, because I do play every day. I used to play every day up until about, I say, when I slowed down playing was around July of 2021. But before then, yeah, I was on bass every day. Not bass, but I was on the acoustic guitars every day. Yeah, but that strap, though, that thing hurt me so bad. Like, y'all, if you got sciatic nerve trouble in your back, don't do it. Sit down. Sit down. Don't trust the strap, because that hurt it. And I do not plan on doing that again. I plan on getting me a padded strap. Go look at some reviews and see what's the best kind and stuff, because that really hurt it. And I ain't had no backache in a long time, but and then it felt like it was taking my neck off. Like, it felt like it was suffocating my neck or something. And when I pulled it off, I had like the marks across my neck and stuff. And I had even it was hurting so bad, y'all. I even put a towel up under it, and it still did not help. So I don't know if it was my size or what, because like I said, I am plus size. I'm a larger female, so that could have been the problem right there. Maybe the strap was for somebody of a regular size, but I got bigger arms. I'm a little thicker up top, and so maybe that's what it was. But it just didn't work out for me. I need something that's going to be easy going on my neck and my shoulders, because that and my back, that didn't feel good. I still would like to try to stand up and play, but I think I'm only have to do it for like 1 minute, because I stood up for 5 minutes the other day and it absolutely was the worst. So no, that's out for now. That's out for now. And I'm going to get the strap even for when I'm sitting down, just so that, I'm not putting that extra pressure on my body and my joints and stuff. So that's the purpose of the strap anyway, right? To take the pressure off of you. But this here, no, Glary got to do better than that. They sent out here, one of them belts that women wear, one of them belts that women wear around their waist. Because that was for the looks right there. That won't for no real help. All right, y'all. So I'm going to let y'all go. And that's all I had to say. And welcome again. Welcome one more time to my podcast, J Bass Boughton. Welcome here. I hope that this is not your last time listening to this podcast. Be sure to come back. It's my journey, y'all. It's my bass journey. And this bass journey has been going on for 30 years. And this bass journey is what has helped me mentally, physically, and emotionally. See, I'll go into all of that, how I started playing and everything, because it's really an emotional journey that I've been on, an emotional roller coaster. But now I'm starting to see some progress. Like that roller coaster is kind of smooth out now. Now I'm understanding stuff a lot better. So y'all be sure to come back and listen to what I had to say. Let's talk bass. Y'all get in that chat. We could talk bass. Y'all come teach me what y'all know. There's a lot of things I don't know. Like I do know that I want some thicker strings. But I don't know what the best strings are. Because like I said, I'm a beginner. So I didn't learn all the techno stuff. All this time I've just been grabbing it and playing and stuff. But now I need to know more. I need to know more about the bass. Now that I have my own, I need to just know more. All right, y'all. So I'm going to get ready and put my bass to bed. No, put it to the wall. I'm going to put my bass to the wall. It's not getting in my bed tonight, okay? I already got to kick out this amp. This amp I got laid up here, like it's acting like it worked, but I gotta get rid of that thing. It's in the way now. Although I had some good memories with it with my dad and my sisters, but my dad gone on to glory, and I guess his little amp, it done gave out too. So sometimes it be hard to let stuff go like that. But I gotta let it go, because I just don't want to deal with the clutter of it, I don't know. I might can put it in one of the storage places, but I don't know. I doubt it. I seriously doubt I'll do that. I have good memories of my dad in my mind, so I don't need something like that taking up space. Okay, y'all, but I'm finna go ahead on and go. Y'all have a blessed night, and don't forget to go over to Facebook and subscribe to my channel, which is J Bass Boughton. It's just the beginning of my name. My name is Jamie, and a J. My bass is a jazz, so that's a J. Remember the J's. J Bass Boughton. All right. Peace. Good night. Keep bassing, y'all. My brothers and sisters, keep on bassing.